when you were going through those negative feelings after your promiscuous days, how did you how are you able to cleanse that energy off of you? Like, do you feel like that's an energy that like as women we carry around with us for the rest of our lives, or do you feel like there's a way to cleanse that energy?
I think it's a little bit of both, but it's definitely a way to cleanse that energy by spiritual baths.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely recommend women to at least take a spiritual bath, at least like once a month or every couple months.
I'm going to turn the light on really quick. It's getting really dark in here. 1 second.
No, it's okay. I can't see what's going on.
I don't know if that actually did anything.
But I think definitely spiritual baths, sea salt, Epsom sea salt, and some frankincense and myrrh, and just take that time, or whatever it is that makes you feel good, in a bath. Take that time, tend to yourself. Taking that time to have self reflection, self time, tapping into yourself, help with that, because if not, you do carry that energy around. You do carry that energy around with you, and I'm not gonna lie. After breaking up with my ex, being with him for 4 years, I carried that energy for a long time.
Really?
I think I'm just now really releasing it out, because I knew I was carrying it for a long time, because I would have flashbacks. Even if I'm not thinking about him, I'll have flashbacks about certain things, or remember certain things he liked, or just our times being intimate. And it's like, I don't want anything to do with him, but at the same time, that energy is still installed in you to an extent. And I think I read something, I don't know, maybe you can verify this too, that they had mentioned that each person that you have sex with, like you said earlier, it does leave a piece of their DNA inside of you in your womb.
Right.
And you got to be able to learn how to cleanse that out somehow. So that's with spiritual baths.
I'm sure the eating habits too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I even got to a point where I was using the what is it called? Like the little vaginal curls.
Mm-hmm.
And putting that in, I had to do that for a couple of days, and I would say affirmations to myself and to my womb, and forgive myself. I would talk to my womb and say, I'm sorry for the way I treated you.
Wow.
I'm sorry for not listening to myself.
That's so deep.
So, yeah, it's just about getting closer to yourself, and that way you can release those old energies. And I think right now, in this time and age, is the perfect time with the lunar eclipse. I think that's happening right now, along with other shifts that are happening. This is the absolute perfect time to make those changes and manifest and get rid of old energy, so that you can, shed like a snake and renew yourself, bloom, and not have that dead weight on you, because it does affect you. It gives you mental blocks.
Absolutely. I started to realize that, when it came to sex, I started to realize that if I don't want, and it's funny because it's like the potential of having sex could always lead to the birth of a child. But so many of the time, none of us really think about that anymore, because we have condoms and birth control and all this other stuff. But it's it's so interesting to think that so many of us don't think okay, if I ended up getting pregnant, is this person someone I'm okay with having a baby with?
Yes. Yes, I wasn't thinking about that either. Now I think that's a good question too. I put in my head am I sure I'm gonna have your child?
Yeah. It's like if we wouldn't want that person to be the father of our children, then why would we want to have sex with them? Because that's a potential outcome of that,
Yeah.
But
and good thing you said that, because also you have to think about your child. If you do end up getting pregnant, that child's going to carry that piece of that man's DNA, and any trauma that he's never worked on, to heal. Anything that he hasn't fixed within himself, that's just going to be passed on to that child. And then that child has to deal with their own life experiences, plus what their parents went through. And actually, I'm going to show you this book for anyone who wants to look into it. I've been reading this. This teaches you about the chakra system and path to self. It's called Eastern Body, Western Mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is the revised version, but I've been reading this, and you technically don't have to read like from front to back. It even says it in the beginning, like you can skip to whichever chakra you feel that you need to work on. But it's amazing how this book teaches you that when your parents are procreating, or if you're procreating, if you're not fixing those things within yourself, inner self, that's just going to get passed right on to your child. And then your child's going to go through things and not understand why they're going through them. And
wow. That is so deep. I mean, I can see it in my own family, just like these intergenerational wounds that are just continuously passed down. And I never thought of it as being a product of like the DNA of both of the parents and then the wounds that each of them carry. I always figured it was just like a parenting style, like, okay, well, they're just raising me the way that they were raised, instead of like, well, no, like I'm actually a product of their DNA, which means that I'm going to carry all of their experiences, their traumas, their struggles with me too. That's so interesting.
Yeah. That's definitely something that I would suggest everyone to get this book and just read it. I don't know the actual original version, but I found this at a yoga center. They were giving free books. And I just grabbed it, and I was like, okay, I guess this works. And when I first cracked it open, I'm like, I don't understand. And then I started to read further and further, and I was like, this is amazing. This is powerful. Yeah. I feel like everyone needs to read this book so they can heal whatever it is, whether it's their inner child trauma,
I want to read that book now.
Whatever it is. Huh?
I said, I want to read that book now. It looks really
good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send it to you. For sure.
That's awesome.
So I guess I didn't ask you any questions. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
What about you? Like, how did you know? Like, how are you also able to determine whether or not like you are gonna make that decision to be intimate with someone or not, if at all? Like, like I know sometimes I take breaks and just like go 2 months, 3 months without anything, no sex, no fap, nothing.
Yeah.
How are you able to determine that too? Like, how do you feel when you know that determination as well?
Oh man, that's honestly something that I'm still kind of struggling with. It's because like I haven't like had sex in a really long time now. To me it feels like a really long time, but I have been questioning if I even want to have sex before I get either married or meet someone who I know for sure is going to be like my life partner. It doesn't necessarily have to end in marriage, but just like the idea of only doing that with the person I know is going to be with me for the rest of my life. That's kind of like,
for sure.
It's kind of where I'm at right now but it's tough because I still have sexual urges, obviously. Like, I still have a craving for physical intimacy. Like, I really, like, it gets lonely sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just remember how shitty I used to feel in, my past casual encounters, that I feel like I definitely don't want to repeat that again. And, and the other thing too is that like now, after having gone through a lot of this like kind of spiritual journey and everything, and just understanding the impact that sex has, like what we just talked about, how you become the other person, like almost very literally, it's like now I feel like I have such high standards now because I wouldn't want to have sex with someone who I wouldn't feel okay with becoming, you know what I mean? And so I guess right now, the biggest thing to me is just like, if I respect them, if I feel like they understand me, if I feel like there's a mutual connection there, and if I feel like we share the similar ideas. And the other thing too is that like, having gone through my past relationships, I feel like I could never be in a relationship with a guy who was like unaware of the negative effects of porn or the negative effects of like constantly ejaculating. Like Like, I could never be in a relationship with a guy who watches porn now. Whereas before, I didn't really, like, think about it that much. But now, like, if he watches porn, then I can't be with him. Just can't be with him.
Yeah.
Like,
And I can relate to that a lot because my ex, he was very heavily into porn.
mm-hmm.
And I think that had to do, I was very young, like I was 18. I met him when I was 16, and we dated up until I was like 20, 21. So like the last half of my high school years, I was basically somewhat like in a relationship. And, it was just like on and off. And it was just all this confusion. And it was a lot of sex, porn. Like I've never been like introduced to so much porn in my life, and like it was like all his sexual desires he wanted to try, and it was just like I felt like a sex slave to an extent.
Wow.
Because I was just basically like, I wouldn't say sex slave because I was obviously engaging with him, but I felt like I wasn't able to figure out what I liked, and a lot of times if I even wanted to engage with those things just to please him. And I think with porn, it just gives you this false illusion of sex, of love, of, what sex is really meant to be.
Yeah.
So I understand completely where you're coming from with how porn really destroys the way that we look at bonding, the way that we look at sex, the way we look at each other.
Absolutely. And what you're saying about feeling like a sexual slave to your partner, it's like, I get what you're saying. It's like, yes, like we are consenting to that, but in a way it's like, it's such a weird dynamic because so much of the time I feel like a lot of men, they when they have sex, it's not like it's sex, like they're just masturbating with women's bodies,
Exactly.
Like the woman is just a tool for him to masturbate instead of like actually like have a connection. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. I didn't even think of it that way. That makes a lot of sense. I never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right.
And I think porn really like contributes to that mentality.